So now that you're at the point where it can go on a construction job site or at an equipment dealership, wherever a fleet may be parked,
Exactly.
you go ahead and tell me how it all works, how AI comes into the equation.
Okay. Can I do it with pictures? Would that be okay?
Certainly.
Okay. So this is what the device looks like. It weighs about 12 pounds. It's pretty aggressive, and I'll get into the details of it. But the whole mantra of the cell is really it's completely automated. It does have humans that back it up that will monitor it. So if for some reason the automated deterrence is not successful, or the people just blow right through and just persist, we can dispatch the police. So we're finding that this thing will get rid of trespassers at a rate of 98+%. I mean, it pretty much eliminates that problem, with the exception of maybe a couple of percent that persist. What's in it is there's a 4K camera, which is obviously in order to create images. It has an integrated floodlight, which is helpful because you can trim the light to 100%, or you can have it at 40%, and then have it come on at 100% when it starts talking to you. It'll flare up the lights. It has motion detection using infrared technology. It has image analysis. So what it's doing is, the whole time it's scheduled to be protecting the property, it's comparing each image that's coming out of the camera, the pixels, and it's looking for motion, a change in movement. And that's basically that image analysis that's mentioned here. And then the AI runs in the cloud with those images that it's sending up to there. And then what it does with that is it verifies that indeed it is a person, or it is a car, a vehicle, or it is a truck. And then based on that, it will then trigger a deterrence action. So how are we using the AI? The camera and that Neo unit is smart, meaning it can detect at a high confidence level if there's something moving around on the property, and not like a tree or something like that. And then it sends it to the cloud to verify it. And then within seconds, this thing will take action. It also can talk. It can talk on Wi-Fi back to a base, or it can talk over Ethernet cable. And which I'll show you in a little bit, it also can use cellular to be connected to the world.
Okay. So when you talk about the actions that it takes, can you go through those?
Yeah, perfect. Perfect lead in here. So the immediate deterrence is it's all programmable, and it's scheduled. You schedule it. So like if you schedule it, you might say from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock p.m. we're closed, but we don't want to be overly aggressive. We want to tell people we're closed. Please, you're welcome to, if it's an auto dealership, you're welcome to, breeze our inventory. But at 10 o'clock, we'd ask you to please leave. And it could do things like that. Then at 10 o'clock, it can really amp up the deterrence. And the deterrence options are turning on the lights. It has 120 decibel sirens and alarm sound effects that are configurable. It has strobes, red and blue strobes built right into it that emulate a police vehicle. It has stark voice down messages and lots of different messages that you can choose that make it sound like it's a person. We have male voices, female voices. We have people with accents. That way you can choose a playlist of different voice downs so that its action upon detection is not repeatable. And then, of course, what we can do is we can dispatch the police if for any reason our monitoring people sense there's something happening. They can take manual control of the Neos. They can turn on all the Neos on the property to red and blue strobes with loud alarms, and then dispatch the police. Does that? Go ahead.
That's very interesting. What would be the point of having the voice messages with different accents?
So that it sounds more like a real call center, like there's a real human being out there.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If it's too staged sounding, I created a large portfolio of different voices, sounds, messages, So people have lots of choices. Most people, when they set these things up, you can have a first detection and you can have a voice down, and then you can say how many seconds between that and when I hit my second message, which can be harsher. And then in each of those messages, the first voice down and the second voice down, you can create a playlist. You can choose like 8 different messages or 10 different messages for the first, and you could have like 3 or 4 or 10 on the second one. And then the Neo itself will randomly choose those. So each time, if someone was casing the place and they came back a second time, which is common, by the way, they're going to hear a completely different voice when they walk in that property when they're casing it, you know, from the first time to the second time or third time. So that's the reason we do that. And we want it to sound like there's a real human being there talking to them. And, you know, I'm watching you on camera. You're being recorded. If you don't leave, the police will be dispatched, you know, that kind of thing. And then the second one will be, that's enough, leave. I have dispatched the police. And then we have at the end of that message, we may have like the squelch, we'll have like the sound of a police car coming, doors slamming, and then we'll have like a police squelching radio going off. So you can do a lot of very ominous things that, listen, if you hear doors slamming and a police radio, you're not going to hang around. And you generally don't hit that the first message, you hit that on the second message when people loiter or continue.
And it is able to distinguish, I obviously said people and cars, and is it going to go off if a raccoon goes through the lot?
Sometimes if the raccoon is really close to the camera for some reason, is crawling up on something, it's set it to be pretty sensitive, but then we can dial that back. But generally, no, animals aren't going to set it off. And with each site, because every site's a little bit different, our monitoring people are tagging every recording that comes in. Our people tag them as, what was it? Was it a correct person? And it really was a person. Were they deterred? Yes or no? All that kind of stuff. But if it was an animal that triggered it, then that goes into the AI to keep continually train it. So we don't just leave it at that. Each site has some peculiarities, and we handle that through the retraining of the AI. So I'm going to give you a litany. I hope you can hear the audio on this. Please let me know if you can.
Okay.
Can you hear sound?
Yes.
This site is also zero tolerance fall protection on. Oh wait, it doesn't say there's cameras though. There's a camera right there. Yeah, there's a camera right there.
Now here's equipment. This is obviously a lot of stored supplies.
Sure.
I'm not sure what this guy's really up to, if he's more of a loiterer or not, but. So this is how you set the area of interest. So like the camera has a very broad view. You color in these red boxes where you want it to care or not care, okay? So you don't want to pick up things that are outside the fence. But what happened is we picked up somebody right here outside the fence, and that's because this is colored in. But just to show you the distance and the control that the person has over their own site.
And they can change that at any time?
Yeah, right from your iPhone or iPad or your Android phone, you can color these in. It's real simple. If you are looking at live view, which you can do also right after a notification, you can go to live view. You can talk to the intruder. So there's a push to talk button.
From your phone or your iPad?
Yep. From your iPhone or your iPad. You can do a voice down here where you can select, you hit this button, it'll give you a menu of choices of things that you can hear. If you have 911 dispatch with our monitoring personnel, there'll be a badge here where you can dispatch the police yourself. And there's other options here as well. You can set off an alarm. You can send notifications to everybody that's registered that there's something going on here. Please take a look, and it'll send a notification to anybody who's registered. And then you can do things like snooze it if it's the cleaning crew.